welcome back to another episode of Girlfriend's Guide Podcast. I'm your lovely host, Ellie.
I'm your host, Tati.
And today we have a special episode for you. You know we are a podcast that is filled with all topics. Mm-hmm. You know, we like to talk about men ain't, you know. And if you broke, you know. You don't deserve, you know. But
so all of you knows. I hope you watch the episodes to actually know.
You gotta fill in you gotta fill in the blanks. But on this episode, our next couple of episodes, we'll be focusing mainly on career, money. Yeah. Because, we want to put you guys on.
We're adults, too.
We're adults.
You know. Somewhat.
So we have an amazing guest with us that is going to talk to you about careers and how to put Two guests. We're going to put you guys on about, things to get your life right and not broke out here in these streets. So with us on this episode is my friends and people I've known for a long time, Natalie and Natacha.
Hello.
Thank you guys for joining us on this episode. Thank you guys for taking the time.
Yes.
I know you guys are busy women. Yeah. I'll let them introduce themselves because, besides their business, these women are very busy. They are out here doing their thing. So,
accomplished Black women. Love to see it.
So Natalie and Natasha, why don't you guys introduce yourself? Let us know what you guys do.
Okay. So I'll go first. My name is Natasha. Like Ellie said, we've known each other for a long time. Dally. Okay. I don't know who this Ellie is. That's Dally, but okay.
So, you guys know, if anybody who calls me Dally, that means they know me ever since I was like
I'm not part of that group because y'all know I call her Ellie. She's Ellie to me.
I trained myself. I was like, Ellie? Okay, but Dally. Yeah. So I've known her for quite some time. So thank you for having us, Tati, as well. Thank you so much. So I'm Natacha. I am the CEO and co-founder of Refine to Thrive. When I am not working for our career coaching and consulting agency, I work with a background in healthcare. Right now, I work in the medical devices field in project management. I love what I do. I love the flexibility it affords, and I love the pay. So I am where I am happy to be.
To loving the pay.
Big boss.
Yeah. Yes. So I am Natalie. I am COO of Refine to Thrive and co-founder with Natacha as well. When I am not working on Refine to Thrive, I'm pretty much mentoring other folks, whether it's youth ministries, whether it's community organizing, but also too, I work within higher education. So I help in that realm of not only just staff, but also students and such. So.
That's amazing. And
lucky students.
I just want to say these lovely ladies have just joined the team of LLC.
Hey. Yes, congratulations. I'm just going to say, 2 Black-owned businesses.
Yeah. Right. Look at that.
LLC certified. Okay, just got to say.
I love it. So I'm so happy you guys could join us on this episode. So to dive into this episode, I just want to give you guys a little background on what we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about career advancement, because we know with this inflation in America, we need to get our money right. So we can't be just staying with these steady, basic pay. So we need to up our pay.
I just want to say, when Ellie says America, like America, she means America that is not for us.
Yeah, that's what I
know? Because she has a little twang when she said it, it's for a reason. America.
Yeah. So these lovely ladies are going to put us on game with a lot of things. I just want to say, client testimony right here. Okay, so these lovely ladies I've reached out to them. This year I was looking for a new job. I recently had finished graduating, wanted more experience and grow in my field. I literally set up a date of a month I wanted a new job. They helped me with my resume. Let me tell you, my resume looks good, guys. And they put me on. And was so helpful, and I was able to get a new job, and it's a job that I feel like I can grow in a career that I can grow in for.
But you got to add the part, because you're missing the part about you had like a targeted salary that you wanted. Like you was looking for a specific amount.
I was like, Tati, making money
and work from home.
And you were very specific.
I was very specific on what I wanted. These lovely ladies helped me get exactly what I wanted. I remember literally it was 2 offers. One of them was just like, they gave me this offer. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I reached out to Tasha and she's like, we're not going to settle for that. So these are the people that you need on your side when you are job searching, because they will get you right. They'll tell you, prepare you for interviews. And this is what this episode's going to be on. We're going to dive into it. I'm going to stop talking because I'm doing a lot of talking.
Allie works from home. Allie works from home, not because of the pandemic,
but for life. For life.
That means that's that good life.
Slaving into work every day.
All right, so my first question for you ladies is, what can someone do that has been in a job for about like 5 years? You know how the job goes. You're, oh my gosh, you did so good on this project. Here's another project. Here's another project. Here's another project. There's no promotion coming. And there's no extra pay coming.
Are you talking about me? I think I feel
we gonna talk after Tati.
Yeah.
But it's common. It is common.
Yeah.
Very common.
So what do? It's a steady job. You know you're safe here. Do you stay? And you're struggling. You're living check to check. So what do you do?
So it really depends on the person, because I would say we run into clients where they're comfortable where they want to be. So whether it's a lateral move, they're okay going to a different department doing the same role, but maybe the other department has a flexible style working. I would say it depends on the person in the sense that if you want to now be more refined with what you do, so whether it is that you have it, that you go and do more professional development training, so you can get your skills set up so that wherever you bounce back to, you're able to have more skills. To say if the next job requires a little bit more finance background, you now are pretty much good with Excel. Like you could do anything in Excel.
You're not lying on that resume. Advanced.
You can backflip in Excel and still make it, some codes work out. So I would say definitely consider professional development opportunities. Map out your organization too. Where else in your organization would you see yourself? Some don't want to go up. That is totally fine. Totally fine. However, if there's other places in your organization that you can do the same job, more money, consider it. So if it's been 5 years, that means it's a time for strategy. It's a time for you to personally figure out what's next for yourself, but you have to put that in yourself. Don't expect your manager to have that map for you. Don't expect HR to have that map for you, because they're willing to give you as much as you tell them you are willing to take on. When you say no, that's when they know.
Yeah.
That it's no longer that you're going to want to be able to take free work in a sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think each person is very unique in terms of what they're looking for and what they're willing to settle on. I think where we differ a little bit is, in my experience, I left an organization because I wanted to make a lot more than I was making. I think we all know notoriously, if you work for a nonprofit, hospitals included, you're always going to be short on what your counterparts in other private industries make. So for me, I think I definitely value the learning more and probably like looking within your organization, but I would also consider telling the person, look outside, right? And I think especially right now, I in 2021, we're in the middle of the Great Resignation, right? So we have millions of people who have stopped working, are no longer looking for jobs. People are not settling for low-paying jobs anymore. So there are actually more jobs than there are people to fill the job, right? So you are going to be really lucky if you go look for a job right now. You are probably going to find someone willing to pay you, and you had this experience recently, willing to pay you a crazy amount of money, right? Whereas like 2 or 3 years ago, they wouldn't have considered it. But people are so desperate. So like you can ask for things that you probably wouldn't have gotten, but now you will.
Yeah, and to bounce back on that too, I can imagine there's one particular department and skill where there was, if you consider them dinosaurs, folks who have been there for so long. So for you to actually move up, you had to wait 10 years.
Yeah.
But folks have retired. Folks are moving on to different opportunities. This is the time that people can move up the ladder like nothing. Like, you're not qualified. Sure, we just needed somebody.
Those baby boomers are getting out now.
Literally, I was telling Natacha, I was like, anybody can finesse your way into any type of job.
Yeah. We wouldn't suggest that. We wouldn't suggest that.
Software engineer.
Meanwhile, all the lights are out.
Let me go work for Meta.
But no, there's a difference between on-the-job training, because there's a lot of companies that it's like, yes, these soft skills, but we're also going to refine it to how we deal with that. But being mindful, don't go and apply for a job that you
don't know how to do it.
You should not be there.
That means that's stress. That's
There's
stress
a
on
limit
you.
to fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like promotion and stuff like that, how do you keep track of like, you know, you get the great job, you get a pat on the shoulder. So how do you keep track of like, you're doing good? It's my year now. 1 year later, when do I ask for promotion? I feel like a lot of people, we get nervous of asking for promotion. How do we ask for a promotion? You should just see me doing great and just offer me something.
No.
So like, how do you ask for a promotion?
Yeah, I think there is no more people just see you doing great and acknowledge you and like, oh, you deserve it. No, if you understand how most organizations work, they're trying to keep the money in-house. So the less that they have to promote you, spend on you, the better it is for them at the end of the day. So you need to be really good at being intentional and asking for that promotion. I usually say wait at least a year to get your bearings, especially if you're new to the position. However, there are some cases where you come in and within 3 to 6 months, you're, you know, doing something very different than what you originally were hired to do. So that's an opportunity for you to, you know, pull your boss aside and say, hey, I just wanted to have a conversation because I know I was hired to do X, Y, and Z, and I recognize that I'm now doing A, B, C, which is a little bit different and it's taking up more time, or I'm using, you know, a part of my mental capacity that I wasn't initially, you know, prepared to use. So can we talk about how I can be compensated for that, right? Compensation looks like a lot of different things. It might be an increase in monetary salary. It might be working from home. It might be a new laptop. It might be tuition reimbursement, lots of different things. But, you know, being open to having that conversation is the key. We talk about also having a brag folder. So every single time someone emails you and says, hey, you did great on this, print it out. It sounds really silly. Print it out and save it. Every single time someone says, oh, that presentation, that patient, that this, print it out so that when you go to that meeting with your manager, you can say, hey, so I know I did all these things, but I also wanted to remind you in this folder, you know, of all these things that you should be aware of.
We often live too, I think naturally, even as Black women, we just feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. Like you are living in the blessings that you prayed for or you asked for, but we always feel like we got to aspire for so much. And so we often, when it comes to the annual review, you forget, wait, I did that project back in January. I forgot about that because you're so worried about the future. And so having the brag folder definitely helps you to see not only just the affirmations, like I'm doing my job, but also to the affirmations and saying like, okay, so if I was able to accomplish this, then I can accomplish that. But also being mindful, though, when it comes to promotions, I err on the side of have a monthly conversation with your manager if possible. I know for some it's kind of hard, but one thing that we institute in our organization is 10-minute conversation. So it could be just a weekly update, but within that hour meeting that you have, there's 10 minutes dedicated to your own professional growth and development. So it's not like a, you know, at the annual review, you're like, so promotion. Here's a brag folder. It's not that. So it simply is that we were working towards it because some organizations now, you can't even ask for a promotion and get it within 3 or 4 months. They have like 2 months in the year that they dedicate to promotion. So if you weren't working on that one next month, whether it's February or September, you need to start working on it now so that it's not one where they can, you don't want them to tell you, well, I think we should probably table this and think about other responsibilities. So be ready for the conversation. Don't wait till your manager tells you when it's time for you to get a promotion.
I like the brag folder because I know me and Ellie did this the beginning of this year. We have our blessings jar, which is I feel like it's similar. Like every time something good happens or we accomplish something, we put it in, and at the end of the year we'll go and like read through it and just like, oh, I did that. Like so I think that's definitely, because I feel like especially at jobs, I'm a nurse, so yay, but not really yay right now, you know? It's tough right now, you know? So mixed feelings, but grateful at the same time. Yeah. But it's very much like, I'm doing this, and this, and you forget, especially with this past year and a half. I don't even, to me, 20 and 2021 is all in one. I can't even differentiate. So I think that's very important because you take on a lot of responsibilities because who thought a pandemic was coming? So we did a lot that we didn't know, we weren't prepared for, but it's like keeping that folder, and then when it's time for like, so the money because of the pandemic, you know? It makes sense that, well, I did A, B, and C because I feel like for them too, it's also a blur. Mm-hmm. It's hard for, I feel like, a boss to see what everyone is doing, especially at a high intensity time. Yep. I can't keep track on your accomplishment, but just keep doing what you're doing. Right, so I think that's a very good tip to have.
For sure.
And I like how you brought up the fact that there are different incentives of being paid.
Yes.
I remember when I was, applying for my job, and a few things that you had taught me is that what are some other benefits, and that's what I'd love to get into. So like when you're applying for a job, you're short of like the pay that you want. So how are you to ask? Like, okay, so you're offering me this amount, but this is actually what I wanted.
Yes.
So can you guys give me a better hour? Can I get
work from home a day?
Work from home. So how are you able to elaborate that and explain that to the person hiring the job? Mm-hmm.
I would start with first I'll go to monetary, then the actual benefits. One thing that I always advise folks is calculate your money first. Because I remember when I first applied for my job, and I was like, I want to make this amount.
That's it.
And they
say that again. Because what do you mean by calculate?
Calculate your money.
Taxes out of it?
Net versus gross. You need to know these things, because one of the things that we aspire for is like, let me just give 80K. If I aspire to do 80K, therefore, we have not put in taxes. We have not put in I'm paying for medical. We have not put in I'm paying for dental. Or even if if you're looking at life insurance and stuff like that.
If you have dependents.
If you have children. All these things. And you're going now to like probably 60.
I want 80K 65. In my pocket untouched.
Yeah. So be mindful of that, because if you don't do your personal research, when the company says, well, this is actually what we're working for, okay, then that's fine.
Respectfully decline.
Well, not just respectfully. Is there wiggle room? I was told the other day, is there wiggle room for... There is, but this is my minimum. Yeah. So being mindful of what you need sustainability-wise, like, don't just say, okay, if I don't cut your budget at all. Because if they're putting in the money, make sure it's everything that you desire and you want. Benefits-wise, I would also consider tuition reimbursement goes a long way. It doesn't have to be that you're going back to school. It could be that you're going for a certificate program, or you're going for whether it is a coaching program of some sort. Look at those benefits as well. Professional development-wise, too, consider there's conferences. If there's always a conference that you get flued out for, room and flights, consider that as well too. So you're always getting to network with other thought leaders as well. Other things to consider is like dental and medical. How much is the company willing to give? Looking at pensions, how much is the company giving into pensions? Retirement, like how much? So looking at all these other, we don't talk about this within our communities at large, but as we are all young, we're probably making the least amount of money that we make as we go 20, 40 years from now. So it's important that our foundation that we're starting with right now is intact and secured, so that the future is definitely something that we don't have to worry about. What we're just worrying about is getting more coins.
Yeah, I think all of that is great. I think the one thing that I want to add that we see a lot of our clients kind of like shoot themselves in the foot with is when you are negotiating your salary, it's a game. Understand that it is a game. First, do your research. Like Natalie said, there are websites like Glassdoor where you can find the company, you can find your position and find out on average how much people are making in that position, right? So when you get to the table to negotiate, you're not just throwing out a number, and your number isn't also unrealistic, right? Because that does happen, and then now you look funny. So you don't want that, right? But then in addition to that, one of the things that people do, and we had this with somebody recently, is, the recruiter or the hiring manager will say, okay, well, what salary are you looking for? And the person, I'll just throw out a number, and they said, oh, I'm looking for 75K. And the person said, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. And it was after that they realized when they did their research, they could have asked for 90. Wow. Because on average, and it's not the job of the recruiter or the hiring manager to say, oh, you're asking me for too little. Please ask me for more. They're not going to do that because, again, their goal is to keep their money in their organization. So do your your job, figure out how much you should be asking for. And I tell people, better yet, don't even throw out a number. That's what I say. Don't throw out a number. If somebody says, you know, what are you looking for? I always counter and say, well, what is your range? And then they'll be like, well, you know, and I'll be like, okay, well, I just don't want to price myself out of it. So if you could tell me a range or, you know, a minimum, that would help, right? It's a game. It is all a game. It is. Practice talking in your mirror. Like, because there's some recruiters out here who've been in the game for like 50 years. They know, because they know what I know, right? And so they'll go back and forth. I was on the phone one time because one thing I still do to kind of keep fresh with our clients is I always interview for jobs. Even though I love what I do, but I stay on the job market to find out what kind of questions they're asking. You know, what's hot right now? What can I teach my clients? That type of thing. And I was literally going back with a recruiter, like back and forth for like a minute, just trying to get them to tell me. And 60 seconds is a long time to keep saying the same thing back and forth. And then finally, they just kind of was just like, all right, this is what we're working with. And I was like, thank you. Okay. And so I knew, but again, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't put a number out there that you haven't researched, and don't put a number out there that could, you know, exclude you from what you want to get paid. Let them offer you something and figure out if that works for you or not, but don't throw something out on them first.
That's a very good. I never would even think. I'm coming to you guys. I'm coming to you guys very soon. Once I graduate and the price literally has gone up, coming your way.
Thrive.com.
These are your people. I remember literally telling Tasha how much a job was offering, and she was like, wait up. We gotta look at that. They're lowballing you. And I was like, sorry.
You know, they sound so well in terms of how they're offering the money. Like, it's like we're being generous. In reality, it's $30K that you're leaving on the table. Because you did not do your homework.
Exactly. You have to. It's not a jouet.
No. This ain't it. We were just talking about that.
But it's not a game. We're playing the game, but I'm not a game.
There we go. There we go. And if I can, I just want to say this because I think sometimes we, especially in the Black community, we don't like to talk about money. I know a few years ago, we had this thing where like we went to like a Panera Bread with her sister, and we wrote out how much we actually get paid. We wrote down our debt. We wrote down like all the stuff. We were like very transparent with each other. And I think for me, that was a time where I was just like, oh, this bag needs to go up. Like we need more money. But I say that to say when we talk about salary, we should be open. If you're working with people on your team, you should feel comfortable asking them, how much do you make? Right? Especially if we have the same education, we have the same background. Sometimes it might be a problem that you're getting paid $15 more. Is it me or is it you? And then I think also, I want to say this very carefully, money is great, right? I do not have a love of money, but I love what money affords us the opportunity to do. Okay. And so the reason why we push for people to get more money, get careers that you like, is because if you have money, you can live a better life, right? That is the investment. That is why you need to negotiate. That is why you need to be aware of things. If you have more money, you know, you can pay for daycare. You can pay off your school loans. You can travel. You can match your 401k. You can do all of these things. And I think a lot of people, and we joke about it, but a lot of people, if they're not living paycheck to paycheck, they're close. They're literally, like when you get to the point where you don't even remember that it's payday, that's a good feeling, right? Because you're just kind of like, oh, money hit my account. But when you're on the, oh my gosh, I can't wait till Friday, can't wait till Thursday, it's not okay. It's not okay. So we got to be doing better. In a good way.
You're talking to me. We're going to take a quick break, guys. Okay. We can reset, but this is good.
So I have a question that's just been lingering on my mind personally, and I feel like everyone else wants to know this too. How do you quit respectfully? How do you, like, you're not doing what, how do you quit respectfully? Obviously by keeping a professional relationship, but also telling them, y'all messed up. Like, this is where your company needs to do better, and this is why you lost me.
Yeah, so actually on our website, refinetothrive.com, we have templates. So we have resignation templates. So if
Y'all hear that?
Copy and paste.
So we send you 3, which is if you want to do it respectfully, or if you want to do it abruptly, or if you just simply want to give them a month's notice. We have that.
I love the abruptly option because it's real life.
Yeah,
like sometimes it's so toxic. I'm like, today is my last day. Bye. You know.
One of the things I would say is to be mindful. The only person that you are loyal to is yourself.
Wait. Say that. Run it back.
The only person you are loyal to is yourself.
I love that.
Because if you think about how many folks that we've seen going by in our companies, how quick their jobs are posted, or even if someone, God forbid, is to pass, how quick their job is posted as well. Being mindful of that relationship that you have is business. It is not personal. But when it gets personal is when it gets that toxic. You start seeing shift behaviors change within you. That's when it's a lot of things you're starting to take personal now, and not at a business level. And so as much as you try to make the company better, it's not your name on the checks. It's not your name on the, cover letters or whatever that's going out. Being mindful that creating a good way of leaving your job, I would say, is to have a meeting with your supervisor. If you're at that state that you can have a great relationship, and you're able to have that meeting, you would simply say, and you could keep it brief. Do not feel like you have to schedule that 1-hour meeting. You don't have to schedule a 30-minute meeting. You simply either Slack or email. You have 15 minutes of your time that I'd like to share. And that's when you can simply say, it's been great. Or if it has not been great, I have come to the conclusion that I think my time here has surpassed. And I definitely, respect you and all that you've done to helping me grow within this company. You want to keep it on a highlight, and not a low light. Even if it's not lying, but essentially you are able to see this is not the place for you. You would have never known if you didn't take this opportunity. So therefore, that's where I say the highlight is. Respectfully, we had a great opportunity to get to know each other, and I definitely, appreciate what you've done.
So I'm going to hijack this episode once again and make it personal once again. So I'm currently going to graduate in May, God willing.
As you will.
And then,
Hallelujah.
So new degree, I'm literally going to be in a completely different role. And I feel like my job would offer me a position to stay. But my thing is, if they do, I personally feel like, because I've been there, at that point would be 3 years, that whatever they offer me money-wise shouldn't reflect the new grad. It should reflect that, but with my experience of being at the company for 3 years on top of that, because that makes sense to me. But obviously, I'll still look at other places just to see. But do you think that's something realistic to expect, a little bit cherry on the top? No cherry. Okay.
I would say no cherry. Honestly, you can think of it back to the loyalty part, where you're more loyal to yourself. Consider it the company as well. Those who stay loyal, why would we add a little razzle dazzle to their job, or in terms of pay, if we already do it annually? So typically when you're getting promoted within a company internally, I know for my organization, the max is 15%. However, if you come outside, you can name your price and they'd be like, yes. So it's more attractive to get outside candidates than it is to get internal candidates to move up, because you kind of are not coming with a new set of eyes, as they would say. You're not coming with like a new juice to give them a reform and listen, with nice sugar and such. So I would say, look outside of as also a way to kind of negotiate too, saying I went outside and they're offering me a 30% increase. What are your thoughts on that? If a company tells you, yes, we could aspire to that in terms of, and next year we could definitely give you 15% when you get the promotion after you graduate, and have it all on paper. Have it all on paper, and they say, at the end of next year we'll do another 15%. Put it on paper. Please. I don't need no verbal promises. We've all seen what verbal promises look like. They're empty promises. And therefore,
just like these men out here.
Listen. If it's not on paper, then it's not real. So being mindful of that. If your company says they can't do it all at once for you, make sure you also follow up, because they're not worried, or
they don't want to give
she's not coming back to us in December. We're waiting for her to come back to us. So be mindful of what loyalty looks like, is because you have to also hold them accountable.
I feel like this job, America just needs to be torn down and then rebuilt again, because it's the structure of work and what you're worth and pay. Like, I get it's hard, like whatever, but I just feel like it can be I always say, if back in the day when there was no technology, you guys could put a price on what a person was worth based on their skin, you guys can definitely redefine this work structure and make it a lot more feasible for people.
Would it benefit us?
But it needs to reparations in the workplace. It needs to exist, in my opinion. It needs to, but it won't ever.
It would have to be us at the table making those.
Exactly.
When there's only like 5,000 Black people left.
Listen,
exactly.
I was just telling them they're giving reparations to the World War II Black men.
Who's alive?
Yeah.
How many of them are really alive?
Yeah,
exactly.
So
but I just want to add to that. I think statistically speaking, the longer you stay at a job, like at an organization, the longer you prolong the lack of wealth that you can have. So I don't know if I'm saying it the way that the article said it, but the reality is if you stay in one place too long, there are other opportunities that are passing you by that you are missing out on. So the chance to make more is reduced the longer you stay in one place, right? Especially if you're in an organization for 3+ years and you've not received consistent rate of promotion, salary, right? You're selling yourself short. Because like, as Natalie said, when you go somewhere as a new person, you're automatically going to make more, right? Depending on, of course, the location, the industry, that type of thing. And so think about that, right? If you're in a place and you've been there for 5 years, you're getting a 2 to 3% increase. There's somebody else who's switching jobs every 3 or 4 years. And each time they do that, they're getting at minimum 10%. How long will it take you to catch up to them? Stay in that same place.
And you can't judge or compare yourself to them. Don't ever do that, because those who take risks get the benefits of taking risks. Granted, we also don't know their shortcomings. But being mindful sometimes too, to Natacha's point, you might have to skip different departments. So if it's pediatrics now, you got to go to the emergency room the next. Like you have to. If you're trying to stay within said company, you might have to jump to different departments. Does it look good on your resume? We can help you with that. But being mindful that you kind of had to make moves in order to get what you desire.
The resume, that ain't no joke, guys. Your resume will be popping.
So I just wanted to bring up a question, and I know your audience is so diverse, so maybe people will give us some insight. But we were recently having a conversation about relocation for jobs. I know, especially right now, a lot of companies are hiring remotely. People are interested in moving from more expensive places to places that are more costly. Texas, Florida, Atlanta, although Atlanta is kind of, but conversation for another time. But one of the unique things is the reason outside of the salary of moving, right? And so, there are people sometimes who have children, they have families, they want to be closer to family, they want to be closer to things that matter. And especially as young people, one of the things that comes up, and we've heard it maybe like a couple of times, is this topic of moving for relationships, right? If you have a job, you are secure in your job, you have done all the things to set you up to be promoted, you are getting paid well, you like the organization, and this person, guy or girl, comes along and says, hey, I'm moving to Chicago, and the Windy City. And I want you to come along with me. We've been, doing this thing for a minute. I don't want to be without you.
We need to elaborate.
What's the limit?
So it is not marriage. It is not marriage. It is not marriage. It is not marriage. There is no ring. But they are exclusively committed. I don't know if that's the language folks is using. So, we have people who have been like, I'm going to move. Can you help me figure out how to transition? Granted, they are in a position where, some people are working remotely, so they can just take their job wherever they're going to go. Some people have certain professions where they can find a job wherever they go. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is this something that people should even consider? Like, should this even be a topic of conversation? Or is it kind of like, I've worked to get where I am. If there is no ring, there is no move. Like,
sorry.
You want to go first?
there's a lot of moving.
There's a lot.
So first of all,
there needs to be stability for me. Like, are we moving a year? Like, is there a potential ring?
So this is the thing that I think I get caught up in. What is the definition of stability? What's the definition of like commitment, being consistent? Because for others it may seem one way, but for our current relationship it may be different. So I think for some it's like it could be a show.
Yeah,
we don't know until we actually get to our location that we can actually thrive.
So
together.
Here's the thing for me: if I'm going to move for a relationship, I need to be good on my own. God forbid next month, that means that I'm not depending on you if I move. Like, I'm having my own place. My job is set. This is a job that I really want. I'm just not just moving for you. This is a job this is my job. Like, if I'm making $80K at this job here, if I'm going over there, I need to be making more.
Okay. Like, not the same. Not even the same. Okay.
Increase. Like, a benefit with
because if you have to buy everything else.
My rent is
relocation.
Yes, it's money.
I'm sorry. I've been an only child all my life. So I'm a little selfish in the sense of, yes, I'm going to move for this relationship to better this relationship, but at the same time there needs to be a sense of like
it's bettering me
at the same time.
Because if we don't work out,
how does this benefit me? That's for me. Like whether I keep my job here is like, if I'm moving for my own place, my place is cheaper because you know how it is here. Like, how do I grow over there? It's just like, I'm just sorry. Okay, coach. I'm just not staying for you. Like, I'm just not waiting. I'm just home waiting for you. Like,
I need to build my own life.
I need to build my own life, and then you're building your life there. I just can't be a itbav. I don't know how to translate. Like, just
I don't know, like a vagabond, a bum, like just bum, like a bum,
I need to see myself there being better.
Okay, but you won't see it until you actually get there, though. Because you never know. It could be that y'all just needed each other next to each other, or being closer to each other. You realize y'all are two different people.
Right, but financially, I'm not moving anywhere if I'm not financially
That's the
stable.
root of I think. I'm sorry. You're gonna see if you're watching the YouTube, my face is like this. I think to me, the ring matters, and the ring matters to me because when I speak about possibilities, this relationship is a healthy relationship. Okay, the ring is not just to shut you up. The ring is like we're actually gonna get married. There's healthy relationship. I speak it to God. So if I'm moving, no ring, I'm not moving. I'm not moving right away. I'm going to give you 6 months to a year. You settle down. You see if you like it. You see if you can build yourself over there. In the meantime, I'll take trips back and forth. I can see if I can picture myself there. Because realistically, you're my boyfriend. Yay. But like, to move?
Yeah.
To move. Especially down south as a nurse, they don't make money down there compared to up here. So who am I to leave the bag with no ring on my finger? So you decide, because I also feel like with a move, it's something that should be done alone in a sense, because you need to figure out who you are in that new time. So now you're going to try to figure out who we are together in this new state. No, figure out who you are, if that's the right move, because you may be like, yo, this is not it. This is not for me. So imagine now if we go there, I resent you because you realize it's not it, but I'm already down here. Now that's going to affect our relationship in a whole new negative way. So we will visit. I'll visit you more likely because if it makes sense for me to move to you, and it will go from there. I don't think it's smart to, and I love what you said, I need to know that I can be good by myself down there in case things don't work out. You know what I mean? Because a big transitional change like that in a relationship can affect you good or bad. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. So it's not smart to just dive in there. So I'm going to give you 6 months to a year. You figure out that's good, and then we can discuss. And then by then, if you really have established something, and throughout that time I've done my own research to make sure I will be good, then fine. But the automatic, yo, babe, looks like Florida. All right, come. No, what? No. I don't know what that is. This is not Dordix or backpack. I'm not coming with you. I don't need the map because I'm not going right away.
Okay, all right.
But that's how I feel.
Okay, I think that's interesting. I like the perspectives. Yeah. They're definitely unique.
What do you guys think? What do you guys lovely ladies think?
You know, I think I definitely err on the side of there needs to be commitment. So there needs to be a ring. There needs to be some type of foundation letting me know that this is the direction that we're moving in. I think I am biased because I would make the same amount of money wherever I go in the country. So I could potentially be fine. But the piece of figuring out whether that place is good for you by yourself, right? I know, for example, I live in Massachusetts. If I had to move somewhere else, I probably wouldn't pick somewhere that's like colder than Massachusetts or, you know, something like that. So it has to be a good move for me. I don't think I'd just like get up and just go and be like,
I'm the kind of person, I plan. So I would have time to plan. What are the nearby stores in the area? That's kind of person I'm.
You're SWOT analysis.
SWOT analysis. Like, you know, am I good? Am I financially stable for the next? God forbid my job wants to lay me off. Once I get there, am I good?
Are there
for
other
like
opportunities?
6 months?
Yeah.
How much is a ticket to go back home? Honestly, because if I'm going all California, that's like 6 hours. If something happens, and not even that, like, if I need to come back home, I need my mom. Like, you know what I mean? I need to know how quick can I get to her. Things like that matter. How much is it to go back home each and every time? I have no family here. That's very important to me.
That's a good point. And as you were talking, I was thinking about this because we talked about this, I think, earlier in the year. These same conversations that we're having it under the guise of a relationship, right? But a lot of people are having these in general about relocating for jobs, right? There are people who will relocate because there's no target near where they're going. There are people who won't relocate because they'll be 4 hours away from their parents, right? Is there potential where we are selling ourselves short because of fears that we have? Is it possible that there are opportunities out there that could better us or better benefit us, but because of, you know, emotional ties, things that we think we can't overcome, we're not really willing to make those jumps?
Very true.
Very true.
Yeah, I could not leave
I don't know.
Massachusetts
Something
right
to think
now.
about.
A lot of people, I'd say Massachusetts is like that man you can't leave.
Because everything is here.
People come here to work. You know?
People say all the time, I want to leave, and I'm like, why don't
And it's been like 15 years and they're still here.
It's like that man that you try to leave.
But it's like, it's hard to, because Massachusetts is, for jobs in different fields, it's like the hub. Like Massachusetts, New York, everything is here. So it's kind of like, at the same time, you're leaving for what?
But then again, why with relocation, you can really relocate somewhere else, find a job here, pay low rent somewhere else.
Folks. I know.
Depending on what you do.
Depending on what you do,
It's working internationally for U.S.-based companies.
Yeah.
So
it's possible.
It's
possible.
I know someone who's working in Massachusetts and paying like Florida rent.
I know somebody like that in Texas. They work for
So it's really, I think we have to broaden up our horizons. If anything, because I know someone who moved for a relationship didn't work out, but they thrived.
They were able to
I'm happy.
More, if not triple, what they were able to do with that person in particular. Wow. So it's really, I think you can't think narrow-mindedly. Yes, I agree with you with the financial piece of it, because it's one thing to be on your own, but then also not have a safe haven of folks to go out to if you're in a bind or anything like that. So I think that's where we have to be realistic. But one of the reels that we did on our social media was think outside the box. You could definitely do travel nursing. You could definitely do, all of our jobs could be a travel component to it. But we're staying here in Massachusetts pretty much when we could be doing so much.
There's a lot of fear.
Yeah, and then on that same note too, I think we don't talk about this enough. This is our fault. But for example, like if you're based in Massachusetts, we have a tendency to look for jobs here in Massachusetts or companies that are here in Massachusetts, and then we ask if we can work remotely, even though we're here and the company is here. And some of them will say yes, right? But what about if you looked at a company in Arizona that was hiring remote workers? Right? That's an opportunity. There could be a company there that is doing the same thing you're doing. They might be willing to pay you more, but you didn't even think about that because it's not a company that you see, right? So the same way, like Natalie is saying, broaden your horizons in terms of your willingness to relocate, broaden your horizons in terms of the companies, the organizations that you're looking for. When you're in Indeed, maybe, you know, don't put in a city. If you're in LinkedIn, don't put in a city. Just put in, you know, the title or the field and see what pops up. Right? You might be surprised. You might find something you actually really like.
I never even thought of that. That's very smart.
The gems that we're giving you guys. So
you're lucky.
Yes, ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
So much.
I'm excited.
These ladies, like I said, have helped me so much. So I thought it would be great to bring them on.
They'll be helping me soon.
Yes.
So if you guys need help, I'm going to give these ladies some time right now to talk about what they do, talk about their business, how you guys can find them, how you guys can book them. So ladies, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, so you can find us online at Refined with a D to Thrive. And we are on all social media platforms except YouTube. Same handle, Refined to Thrive. We are currently consistent with posting. So
you guys are. You guys are. More consistent than us.
And so the same type of, our goal is to provide people with the same type of knowledge that you guys are getting here, but in like 30-second, snippets on social media. In terms of our services, we do the full spectrum. So if you're looking for a consult, you just need your resume done, cover letter, you need template, you need, something short like that. You need mock interview skills. Those are really intense, but we find that they really prepare people to actually go into the interview. If you need a list of companies that are hiring remotely because you don't know where to start, that's on the website. And then if you need coaching, you need a little bit more hand holding. You need someone to actually sit with you and say, all right, do this and then do this. And long-term planning, strategizing. She is your queen. You can book coaching with her. But we're really here to really help people thrive. That is our goal. There's no more settling for the bare minimum anymore in our careers. In all aspects, but especially in our careers. So anything that we can do to help you level up in that sense, that's what we're here for.
I love it.
I'm going to need them to also add on that traveling. These two are my gurus when it comes to traveling. Listen, when everyone be like, oh, how you do this? Where you going to this? I'm like, I got my people. Travel agent, I got my people. So I'm waiting for them to add that.
I don't know. We'll see.
You need to know where to go.
And if you guys haven't picked on, these are the Melanin Mondays for the episode. If you guys haven't noticed.
So thank you guys again for
thank you so much
to this episode. Thank you for Refine to Thrive. Did you guys give them your handle?
Yeah. Yes. Refine to Thrive. Yeah.
All right, great. So you guys can go on that. Their Instagram, click book, and follow them because that's important.
Yes.
So thank you guys again for tuning into this episode. Make sure you guys subscribe to our channel. Yes. Our podcast is on all platforms that you listen to.
And YouTube.
Yes, YouTube. And make sure you click that like button. So we'll see you guys on our next episode.
Bye.
Bye.